Now, as far as any allegations about UFO magazine being affiliated with the CIA, they could see the extent of the operation. That's the most laughable thing in the world. And I know what Cooper's going to say about his letters from Martin Cannon. We recently talked to Cannon, and he's absolutely, completely convinced that the whole thing was blown entirely out of proportion. Now, one other thing I want to make, and then I'm going to give Cooper a chance to start talking. Number one, I want to know how the investigation is coming on Cooper down in Cottonwood about the allegations that he slashed tires on Mr. Douglas Dean. Is Mr. Cooper willing to discuss the court restraining order that was placed on him by Mr. Dean? And is he also aware that not only has Mr. Dean given the life-threatening telephone calls that Cooper made to him, to the police down there, but also the actor Mr. Michael Callan here in Los Angeles has also put Mr. Cooper on record for making life-threatening phone calls.
Now, you may be wondering what I'm talking about. Remember, this was September 1990. Toward the end of July, Michael Callan and Douglas Dean, those two Hollywood professionals that had offered to do a contract with Cooper and package him to get the message out, and the very people that put together his extravaganza at the Showboat, one night received, each of them, a series of 5 life-threatening phone calls. The reason? Cooper was trying to extort from them the master tapes of all his presentations and his speeches that he had given. He had decided that because he had partners, he was losing a ton of money. He wanted all the money for himself. And regardless of the fact that he had signed contracts with Callan and Doug Dean, so at any rate, they get a series of absolutely drunken, threatening calls from Cooper, and I'm going to play a couple for you right here. The next morning, Cooper, who was living only a few miles from Douglas Dean in Arizona, had gone over to Dean's house, according to his gardener, because Dean had left in the middle of the night. At the time then, Dean was about 69, 70 years of age, living by himself, and he didn't want to be there when a drunken, bullying stormtrooper type like Cooper came storming over to his house. When he got home later that day, after Cooper had been there and left, and he found this out from his gardener, all 4 tires on one of his vehicles was slashed. But I'll let Doug Dean tell you about it. And let me caution you, there is some very strong language in this. So if you are offended by strong language, this might be a part of the show that you don't want to listen to.
Weakest spot and be successful. And if you should not be successful, don't give up. Attack and attack and attack and attack and attack until he's laying, bleeding on the ground and cannot ever get up again.
What you just heard is the voice of Milton William Cooper, Bill Cooper to his followers. My name is Douglas Dean, and I agree with his statement. When you're confronted with an enemy who is all set to kill you, survival, facing imminent death, is the name of the game. The trouble with Cooper's statement is that he believes everyone is his enemy. He trusts no one. Has stated this in his lectures, and his past record shows his continuous onslaught and attack against anyone who gets in his way. The list is long. Michael Callan and I made the mistake of trying to help Cooper get his message across in a big way where it would do the most good, instead of the nickel and dime operation he and his partner Stan Barrington were conducting. Promotion, the show business way, takes a lot of time, effort, and money. Cooper was all for it in the beginning. but his innate distrust through the 8 months of our association came to a head with his insistent demanding of all the master tapes of his lectures and interviews, which in reality never belonged to him, with the exception of tapes from 2 small lectures in Phoenix and Sedona, Arizona. Michael and I paid all the expenses to produce the rest of the tapes. Cooper and Barrington agreed at a meeting with Michael and myself at my home that we would not touch any of the monies taken in from the sale of the tapes, rolling over the account to take care of future expenses for larger orders of tapes until we had a sizable amount that we could start taking profit from, after all the expenses were paid. The monies that I took in are still untouched in the Need-to-Know Productions account. Barrington still owes a sizable amount to that account from sales that he never turned in. Michael had 3 big lectures set up for Cooper, which he still doesn't know about. But Cooper's greed for the instant buck and demands for the master tapes gave Michael an uneasy feeling, which kept him from finalizing the deals that he was setting up. We are both more than happy that he didn't make those commitments. After a very poor turnout for his lecture at the San Diego Convention Center on May 26, 1990, Cooper's half-drunken firing of me was really a big laugh now that I look back on it. I didn't then, and never had, worked for him. On the 28th of July, 1990, at 1:30 in the morning, Michael got a series of phone calls from Cooper over an hour's period. When the phone awakened him, all he said was, "Hello," and kept the message unit on record. The following are unedited copies of those calls from Cooper, which are on file with the Los Angeles Police Department.
Somebody done sold me your knees, and I'm coming to get them. I'm coming to get those knees, man. I'm gonna break them motherfuckers. I'm gonna 5 million fucking pieces. Michael, you've reached 602-567-6536. This is Bill, your old partner, and I just wanted to let you know that John Hart, one of the richest men in America, has assigned me some bodyguards and some security personnel, and he's really looking out after my interest. And I knew that you were really concerned about that, and I thought that you might want to know that everything's really been taken care of, and he's going to make sure that nothing ever happens to me that's bad. So, you got my number, you got my address, in case you get any hankering to, talk about the old times. Just give me a call. Otherwise, I would suggest to be, sort of careful. Don't ride any fucking Broncos.